Hey folks, welcome to Snowpal Software Development and Architecture Podcast. In this podcast, we're going to take a look at Teradata and just try to learn a little bit about it. Now, I've not used Teradata, so we're just going to start from scratch. Much like we've done in the recent podcast, we're going to learn together, scratch the surface, and the hope is at the end of the 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, we'll have some idea about Teradata. At this point, I kind of know what it is, but I've never used it, certainly not professionally. We're going to take a look at that. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Hopefully you can see my screen. All that I've done so far is essentially signed up for an account, and that is it. I've done nothing more. But before we actually get started and get deeper into becoming a bit more hands-on, let's understand what Teradata is. What is the tool? What is the company? So if you Google, it says it's a complete cloud analytics and data platform. It's a company that provides cloud database and analytics related software products and services. Let's just look at what does Teradata do. It's one of the popular relational database systems. It's mainly suitable for building large-scale data warehousing applications. Teradata achieves this by the concept of parallelism, etc. So data warehousing, surely that is one thing we need to understand. There's ETL. It says it is Teradata an ETL tool. It does have native export and load utilities, and with scripting that you can do ETL within Teradata. What else? There's also a notion of data lakes. So let's understand these terminologies a little bit more before we actually get into just setting things up and seeing how Teradata works. So three things. First, data warehousing. What is a data warehouse? It's an enterprise system used for the analysis and reporting of structured and semi-structured data from multiple sources such as POS transactions, marketing automation, CRM, and more. Data warehouse. So you can read more about it. Let's see what the difference between data warehouse and data lakes is, because we're going to look at Teradata maybe in this session, or maybe in the subsequent ones about data lakes. So let's see what Teradata has by way of data. What is the difference? Data lake stores all types of raw data, which data scientists may then use for a variety of projects, while data warehouses store cleaned and processed data, which can then be used to source analytic or operational reporting. So data warehouses have been around a while. Data lakes probably a much newer concept, relatively speaking to data warehouses. So there's more details here. I think the fundamental difference is data warehouses appear to store structured data, whereas a lake is a repository that stores data, even unstructured data. So, well, there is something called data mart. What is the difference there? Let's see if they have data warehouse. There's some differences that AWS provides here. Data warehouse is relational data from transactional systems, whereas data lake is like all data. What are data marts? Let's a data mart is a data warehouse that serves the needs of a specific business unit, like a company's finance, marketing, or sales department. On the other hand, a data lake is a central repository for raw structured and unstructured data and unstructured data. So I guess data mart is a subset of data warehouse. If it's specific to a particular unit within your organization, at least that's what it sounds like. The most common terms I've run into are data warehouses and data lakes, not as much data marts, but maybe it's just me. Okay. With that introduction, I think we're still recording, right? Yep. Let's just start, playing with Teradata and understand a little bit more about it. Like I said, the only thing I've done is signed up. In most of the previous podcasts, I actually do sign up after I hit record. I've noticed that sometimes, these tools and platforms, they take a little bit longer to send you this confirmation email at Snowpal when you subscribe to our, sign up for our services, let's say our web application. It takes no time. Within the next minute or so, you should get the email. But I've seen in other cases, it actually takes a few minutes for other systems. So I did not want to do it and wait on the call, like on a live podcast while I'm doing the recording. So I'm going to just sign up for these services, and that's the only thing I'm going to do before I get started, with the recording. Okay. So one of the first things it says is create, it's asking us to create an environment. Let's go ahead and do that. Just going to call it Snowpal default. Just going to give it a very simple password. I'm going to pick US East. This says it'll take about 3 minutes. Maybe I should have done this before trying to socialize what these concept terminologies were. But while it does it, maybe we can just look at their marketing pages. This is like, what is, yeah, let me actually go to the home page. Drive faster innovation with Teradata AI Unlimited. Oh, that's cool. The serverless AI ML engine to help you uncover more opportunities. So we can probably even look at this as in our series if they have like a free trial or something. Yep. That will be very interesting. Okay. It is taking time. So let's see, getting started. Teradata. Getting started. What is ClearScape? Teradata Vantage? Teradata Vantage is the connected multi-cloud data platform for enterprise analytics, enabling users to solve data complex challenges from start to scale. So is there, what are some of the products? Let's see, Teradata. Let's go check out our platform. The complete cloud analytics and data platform, that's one. Teradata Vantage Cloud, serverless engine and data fabric. And then they have ClearScape Analytics, AI innovation, some use cases, and deployment. So let's actually take it. I'm just waiting for this to deploy. Okay. While it does it, I'm trying to understand what okay, they have a bunch of tutorials here. Query data and object storage, train machine learning models. Da, da, da. So what is Vantage versus ClearScape? Teradata, ClearScape. So I'm trying to understand how many different products they actually have here. This one seems like the complete platform. They have Vantage Cloud, serverless engine, and then there is a data fabric. We'll see how much of it we can actually play with, either in the initial podcast or in the subsequent ones. ClearScape Analytics, try the free demo. This is probably the one I actually signed up for. So maybe what we're getting here is, okay, I think it's done provisioning. Run dozens of guided demos in Jupyter notebooks, run demos using Explore Analytics running on Vantage. What is the difference? Is Vantage their platform? Teradata Vantage. Yeah, that is the platform, all right. Details to connect to your Vantage database. There is the host, username, and use the password that we created. Okay, let's just save this just in case. Teradata. That's the host. Username, then password. Okay. Run demos using Jupyter. What is Jupyter? Oh, the Docker image. Okay. Keep waiting. Okay, this is the URL that's provisioned, Snowpal default clearscape.teradata.com. Explore 80 plus AI. Hopefully it's big enough. Self-service demos across multiple industries. Getting started. Okay, I'm just trying to digest this page to understand what it is that we're looking at here. It says launcher, Python, Teradata SQL, and then this console, other. Do we get to pick one or the other? And if you're surprised why we're not looking at documentation, that means you probably haven't checked out the other podcasts. For a lot of, in these Snow podcasts, we cover a number of things. We do collaborative podcasts with guests. We do solo podcasts, and the solo podcasts are, they sort of run the gamut. We share what we've done at Snowpal. We share those learnings with you, and it's typically full stack and polyglot across our systems and products. And we also pick up random technologies. I say random because those may or may not be technologies we are using, at least just as yet, at Snowpal. We take those technologies. I want to make sure I'm still recording here. Okay. We take those technologies and then we talk about them. We learn about it. We do all of it hands-on and from scratch on these podcasts. Even at Snowpal, when we do, add more languages into our mix, which I think stands at close to 6, maybe more at this point, and we use, we pick the right tool for the job whenever we do something. We don't, just because we know something, we don't use the same technology or the framework or the library to solve every problem. We try to find the best one to solve that new problem, which means there is a fair bit of learning, quite a bit of learning we have to do consistently. And we actually don't necessarily have the time to go through a formal learning or a training process. So we don't go through documentation, pages and pages and pages of documentation. Not that, like I've said in many podcasts before, there's a right or wrong answer, to each our own. The approach we take is we just start trying it out, spend an hour or two, get a feel for it, and then poke into the documentation as needed, essentially. That is our process, and that works reasonably well for us. So there isn't yet a reason for us to change that approach. Okay, so which means we're going to discover what this is by playing with it. Now we've signed up and we've got all of these initial pages. Even the initial experience, this tool looks quite different actually. It looks like a desktop tool that was probably ported over to the web, maybe. That's me speculating without having used Teradata ever in the past. What is a new launcher? Okay, so I guess we can pick any of these items here. Terminal. Okay. So that's a Linux machine. Okay, this is a better way to discover it, I think. Okay, there is a lot of these use cases. We'll look at each of them one by one. Maybe we'll do. This is a list of all. Okay, if I did not, let's say we'll keep this initial. Oh, hang on. New launcher. What is navigator? Okay, this is, I guess, like a SQL navigator is what it looks like to me. So there are some basic tables that are provisioned. Are these system tables? What are these schemas? We're going to understand all of them. It looks like a very reasonably traditional RDBMS with schemas. There is a demo user, those tables and views being empty. And then we had the DBC. What is Teradata DBC? So the DBC database contains critical system tables exactly as we had envisioned that define the user databases in the Teradata database. Okay, let's actually, I should probably pull this into a different window. Okay. My apologies. I'm gonna drag this here. What else do we have here? Let's actually take this one also. Okay. I'm gonna close. I don't know, maybe we'll leave this open as well. I could actually drag it, but this seems like it's easier to do this than drag. Okay, that sounds good. So I'm here and this is the window. Okay, now let's go back to our database. How do first thing I want to know is, can I connect to this? I would like to connect to this outside of this window here. How do I get the URL to this DBC schema Teradata DB connect string to DBC. Provider, data source, user ID, password, and extended properties. Okay, is there a way I can just, if it gives this to me, I'm already connected here. Let's discover it, but probably it might be easier to just use a different SQL client. But even if with this one, how do I inspect, let's say, row count, sample data? Why does it say sample data? Is it not all of it, or is it just some of it? Let's see, we'll do a row count. That's 68. And then let's right click this. Sample data. It doesn't give me a count here, so I don't know, but I have a feeling it's all of it. Yeah, I don't know why it said sample data. Or requested sample of 100 is larger than total of 68 table rows, all data returned. Maybe it caps at 100. So what if you have more than 100 rows? So I guess you don't inspect it through 0. I want to take one where the row count is more than 100. Oh, come on. Nope, they are all less than 100. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. Let's get our feet wet, understand some of these. Global function schema. Does it have any tables? Not really. Okay, there is a bunch of tables in the DBC schema, and there's a bunch of other schemas as well. Okay, and then what were the table names? This is kind of what they look like. Hopefully we can try and understand what these tables mean as we go. Okay, that's the navigator. Let's go to the launcher again. Text file. What is, oh, this is just a text file if you wanted to write something. Markdown file, Python R files, show contextual help. Click on a function to see documentation. I'm not sure what this is yet. IPYNB file extension. It's a text-based file used by Jupyter Notebook, a web-based interactive computer program that helps analyze and manipulate data using the Python programming language. All right, okay, I've never used this before. Okay, text-based file. So I guess this is me. I've been meaning to do. I've done, programming in a number of languages over the years. We are a polyglot shop, even in terms of our products that we provisioned, that we own and have available both on the B2B and B2C front. But Python's still not in the mix, not yet. But hopefully this year, as we get into building one of our next APIs, Python's very likely to be in the mix of things. Yeah. But with this, what can I actually do without knowing any bit of Python? I'm curious here. Okay, IP. I want to get an. I'm curious to see if we can. I have no idea what any of this is. Okay, so let's just go here. How can I delete this? Okay. I'm gonna come. Let's IPYNB. Maybe we'll go here and look for. Why would it return that? Trying to think how we can actually run something here to get. Do we run actual Teradata SQL here? What is there's no code completion is what it looks like. Let's go back to Navigator. Let's see. Use cases. There are some files. You know what? We actually had a terminal open, didn't we? Where did that go? Okay. Let's keep that open. Let's see what is under. Let's get acclimated to this directory structure. Teradata. Result sets, there's nothing in there. Teradata config. User info. I don't know what it's going to spit out. Hopefully it doesn't have the password or anything like that, so I'm not going to cat that one. Remove charts and result sets. Okay. Use cases. There are a lot of use cases. Let's inspect these files really quickly. Sales forecasting. So they have a bunch of examples here, and all of them, there is a IPYNB find IPYN. Can I do IPYNB? Unknown argument type. Maybe it doesn't. Okay, those are all the find does have a type for sure. Why does that not find command dash type? Yep, that is surely a dash type. I use that all the time. Yeah, file is of type. I don't know why that did not work. Hang on, my own sanity purposes. Oh, type is maybe not the extension. Am I forgetting this? Unknown type. Oh yeah, type is a file or directory. My bad. Apologies. Here we're looking for a certain extension, which is why the dash. I mean, if you think it's a digression, the whole thing is learning. So it's almost like we are at work. You're sitting in front of me. So the idea is, while we want to keep the focus to the topic at hand to the extent possible, such digressions are bound to happen. And if you're following the rest of the podcast, hopefully you're not surprised. Okay, so I want to just find the PYNB files, and that might be the one. Let's see, I reckon that this is the one that we have. No, maybe not. So let's look at one other data loading. Let's look at getting started. Cell type, execution count, source. Okay, these are actual queries. So what kind of stuff goes in here? Select. I don't know, I'm going to try something arbitrary. Maybe it won't even make sense. Ah, no active connection. What does that mean? Teradata SQL, Teradata, Jupyter SQL, no active connection. Okay, you need to make the actual connection here. Can I close all of these? Stuff, too many things open. Okay. Do we need to execute these commands? Like, okay, this is me stabbing in the dark without having a clue of how this is supposed to work. That's okay. That's literally how I would do when I'm trying to discover this and learn this in the real world, if and when we get to use like Teradata at work. So it's all right. So they have a bunch of SQL statements here. Okay, so we need to first establish. Let's go to the top of this file and see. Load data to Vantage. So this is getting started, data loading SQL. Okay, actually let's getting started. Which directory is this in? Getting started, data loading. Okay, so that's the markdown file. Ah, there we go. We have an example here to go off of. So what are each of these? Okay, I can have a read a markdown version. Hang on. Let me actually close this card and then open it again. Okay, welcome to this guide. Walk you through the steps as needed to load data and Teradata using Python. Okay, let's try to copy this. And we'll go here. I'm gonna close this, close that, come back here. I guess you can delete these guys. You have no active connection. We need to first establish that connection. You'll be prompted to provide the password. Enter your password. It says I need to run this first. Okay, let's actually. not knowing Python is not helping the cause, but maybe there's a way to get started with Python. Are we supposed to run this from the terminal? And where does my terminal keep disappearing? Oh, maybe I just closed it, my bad. Okay, percentage doesn't look like, okay. Home, Jupyter. Okay, / use cases. Hang on. Hang on, what was the directory? Use cases and startup. How do I? Okay, cat use cases startup. Are we supposed to? How to connect to? There is a percentage. For help. Oh, I thought I typed help earlier. Ah, okay, hang on. Maybe I typed help this way. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Detail help for one magic command, blah, blah, blah. And there's ways to connect. Okay, percentage connect. So now we need the percentage. Name param must be specified. Let's go back here. Connect to Vantage. Oh, come on, I keep forgetting that. That's the password that I had created initially. Oh, it says success local connection established and activated for user or default database demo user. And then we actually saw the demo user DB here, which was empty, right? So we're getting maybe somewhere. Okay, now that we've connected with that user, help data load data from file, press send. Okay, how can I rename this file? I saved it. Can I rename it? Rename podcast 1.ipymb. Okay, maybe drag it and put as the first one. Make this smaller. Okay, it says percentage help. What was it? Load. Data load. Load a CSV into a database table. Okay, and there is a CSV file sample here. Invoice description, blah, blah, blah. They got a bunch of things. Okay, now let's try to load this into a, hang on, this. Oh, that is us, not the actual. Okay, now we're going to create a table, invoice stock, customer ID, country, and unit price, which is basically this one here, right? So because we are in that directory, so just to step back, We created the environment. It took a few minutes, 3 minutes, and then we saw this editor. I've never ever seen this before. We were shooting the dark for like 5 minutes or so. But I think at this point, then we found the terminal, and always get more confidence when I see a terminal, because you can kind of discover, play with it, and see data dictionary. There's a space in between, so data dictionary. Oh, I thought it was called data dictionary. Data underscore dictionary, okay. Data underscore dictionary, DDL. Let's try this. I'm just looking at a random directory, one more directory, okay, DDL. TR NJ NG, yes, trngap.txt. It says there's 7 tables, the largest account strands. So it's a .txt file. Is there a DDL version as well? Okay, so this is probably, just regular SQL. Yeah, it's SQL syntax, right? Pretty much. Okay, so that's how, we discover. We saw these directory structures, getting started, and the use cases, and then we, just explore these directories. It's sort of, you're going into a new place, you're going to a car showroom. Maybe it's a terrible example, you're just opening and closing cars randomly, but after 30 minutes, you get a feel for the place, the showroom, and the whole 9 yards. That's sort of getting acclimated, for lack of better word. Maybe it's a good word to use here, to the environment, without looking at anything else. How long are we into this recording? We're like about 30 some minutes in. And I feel like I know a little bit about Teradata at this point, half an hour in. Then I had 30 minutes ago, which was nothing. I was starting at zero essentially. Okay, let's continue. Maybe here we can just create this multi-set table. I'll put it up here actually, because maybe it's easier to even read. It's a create multi-set table. What is a multi-set table? Is that Teradata terminology? That stores a non-ordered set that can include duplicated element values. Interesting. Does Oracle support something called a multi-set table? What is a nested table? Does Oracle have multi-set? They have multi-set operators, but does not have a multi-set type. Does Postgres have a? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I've never used multi-set. Okay, I'm just going to search for multi-set tables. The first the first result seems to be Teradata related, so maybe it's very specific to Teradata. I don't know. Oracle does have a notion of multi-set operators. Combine the results of 2 nested tables into a single nested table. Customers demo. Next, to create a table type called whatever. This type will be used when creating the nested table columns. Create 2 nested tables. The customer's demo table. This looks quite interesting. I have not actually used the construct of multi-sets. Yep. Okay, we're creating a multi-set table. Again, I'm forgetting. Is this because it can have duplicated data? Is that what it is? Yeah, because in a regular table, you need to have there at least a default primary key. Multi-set table actually allows duplicate table. So when do you use a multi-set? When do you use a multi-set table? Storage of row duplicates became permitted by the ANSI standard. However, introducing was necessary to adhere to the ANSI stands on store multiple copies of the same row. That's new learning for the day. Set tables forward duplicated rows. I'm curious now. Apologies, but I don't think we can continue without me getting some clarity on this, and hopefully you as well, if you don't know this already. Set is a traditional table as we know. Oh, hang on. Create set table, create multi-set table. I guess that is a set table, but every table by default should be a set table. Unless Teradata requires that you pre-qualify that as a set table. Primary as a primary index. Okay, we know the query session. Both tables randomized data source from big table contains 500 unique PI values. Compile execute numerous duplicate row checks. Insert into multi-set. Insert into temp set. Select total count. The disparity is pronounced. This is not due to uneven load distribution, but rather the significantly high number of required CPU seconds. I'm still not getting the answer to when do you use a multi-set table. A table defined as set table doesn't store the duplicate records, whereas multi-set can store duplicate records. Sure. This is from eons ago, but yeah. Results in a set table being created, that's the default. And results in multi-set being created, the ANSI semantics mode. So if you did this, it depends on this mode, I reckon, which one's going to be created. But it still doesn't answer my question. Yeah, but this is not allowed. A multi-set is going to let you. Teradata checks on violation of uniqueness for each row, duplicate row checking to avoid the performance issues. Advise that to define on. It is advised that to define UPI, USI, or any other uniqueness constraint in any column. So they're basically saying it's going to, there is a cost of actually, the fact that there shouldn't be duplication on a standard traditional table has a performance implication. And since using Teradata in the context of large amounts of data, it should not, we don't want to take that hit. But I guess we learn as we go. I guess you could store these duplicate records. And when you query, we have to understand how it's being returned. Querying multi-set table duplicated data. You know what? This is why it's sometimes easier to just try it and then figure out, okay. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to take it to our editor here. Can I? Okay. I guess I'm going to, oops, the percentage. Okay, so the percentage prefix is when we establish the connection doing the help. Once we are actually connected, can I still do, when you're executing this, you're actually not, you don't need the percentage. Yep, okay. So we created the table. Now we'll go back. I'm going to save periodically. I want to go back here and see this table. This was empty. And now I want to see, how do I refresh this? Do I have to? Yeah, but I didn't have to refresh it. There's retail data because that's what we just created. We created a retail data and it's actually going to be empty because there is no data in there. Show DDL. So, yep. So it's basically telling us, if you want to, recreate it or something, just to look at what the actual create code looks like. Row count is going to be 0 because we have not done any inserts at this point of time. So the next thing is it says load, okay, data load. Let's copy this. Let's copy the whole thing. Database equals demo user, table is retail data, skip rows 1. Why should it, I don't know what skip rows, data load skip rows. Teradata, data load, what is skip rows? Skipping the first header line of imported files. All right, it's skipping because that's, I guess, even though this is 1, we don't want that very first record there for CSV files. So it's saying skip rows 1, file path is getting started, blah, right? Okay, so let's copy this whole thing and then we'll run it here. Okay, using demo user, it inserted it. Now if we go back to and we do a row count, it's got 500. And when we do the sample data, it's probably going to only return like 100. But I guess when you query it, it only returns, when you do the right click for the whole data set, it returns just 100. But let's see, the very first one is set of 6 soldier skittles. Is that the very first one here? That is not the first one. 6365 invoice number. This is 6392. Okay. So I guess there, let's see, set of 6. Let's see if we did it again. Go back here. Not there, sorry. The third one. We say sample data. Yep, as you can see, it's random, right? It's not the same list. So it's not ordered by anything, so it's just picking up the random sample of 100. So we've gone ahead and created a table. We don't have any views, but we actually have a table here. Now let's actually try to see if we can run a query. Let's see, is it standard SQL? Select star from retail data. Okay, there we go. It actually returns all the 500 here. So it's pretty standard SQL queries and it's returning it. So this is the, I guess, a Teradata editor. I don't know what this is actually called. Oh, JupyterLab, sorry, JupyterLab, yep. Okay, you know what, I don't know how long we are into this podcast. Oh, we are almost an hour in. Maybe it's 50 minutes in. 45 minutes ago, at least I had zero clue. Other than knowing how to spell Teradata, I'd never seen anything like this. That's the whole idea behind these podcasts. One more time, even if I sound like a broken record, my apologies, to learn together. It's actually more fun than learning separately. It's even more fun when there's a real human. But we sometimes don't always have the luxury of real humans anymore. Everyone's busy doing. Our team at Snowball is busy doing what they're doing. I'm here also, doing podcast for one of many reasons. One is it's fun, and two is it's knowledge sharing for knowledge I might have, and other times like this where knowledge is created on the go, on the fly, if you will. Okay, we took a third-party extension community. Okay, they have third-party extensions. What if you enable it? There's some interesting third-party extensions. We can check this out as we go. Let's understand a bit more about this JupyterLab. Build standards and services many different use cases. End-user apps that facilitate interactive computing workflows. This is quite interesting. Let's say if we were to do this. Actually, I should create a directory for Teradata. Let me do that. Make directory Teradata. Okay, new release. Let's just do. Okay, Jupyter. This is cool. This is cool. Okay, so this is interesting. I've never used this before. Oh, it also there's a Terraform file here. Oh, that is pretty cool. We actually, this podcast that we have, oh, maybe it created it because I launched it from that. Oh, from that location. Okay, that's why we are seeing this. Let's actually launch it from a different location. From this, what did I do? Jupyter, was it lab? Oh, this is actually quite nice. I've never used this before, so maybe we'll actually spend some time understanding Jupyter Lab, and then Jupyter, install the classic Jupyter notebook. Why does it say classic? The latest environment for notebooks, code, and data. Its flexible interface allows users to arrange workflows in data science, scientific computing. Oh, this is the original version that is not there anymore. Okay, this is good. Something new. Maybe something to explore as well. Project Jupyter. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Just to recap what we've done today, we start out not knowing. I'm saying we maybe did more. No, you knew more than I did. Going to be presumptuous here, conveniently so. We start out knowing almost nothing about their data, but we've gotten to the point that we've gotten used to, this editor to JupyterLab. Try to understand, how to work with it. Understand, we looked at some just the breakdown of the use cases. We took one of the use cases and now we looked at the database schema. There was a demo user that's empty. We created a table and populated the table by ingesting data from a spreadsheet, a comma separated file. And then we ran a simple query as well, right? We ran a very simple query, and maybe we'll run a more specific query. Let's see, stock code, select star. Oh, I actually did up arrow, so it took me there. That is good. Okay, so I can go back to the commands. Where stock code equals 228. I'm just picking a random one. Okay, let's figure why that's not working. A simple query, select from retail data, stock code equals 2296. Column 22961 not found. Okay, let's inspect the table a little bit. Columns. Okay, it's not a number, so it's a string stock code. Okay, varchar. Let's see. Okay, I use double quotes. Oh my God. Okay. There we go. Pretty standard SQL stuff. Nothing much going on there. Let's say maybe try one more. let's see, basic and size equal syntax should work. Like percentage jam to a wildcard here. Okay, there we go. Right, so we're running some basic queries and whatnot. Shows view image. What is view image to? Selected cell is not blob type. Okay. So we've run some queries, and then we also noticed that there's third-party plugins that we could potentially use. I know, let's see, Teradata. Oh, did it actually return something? Database Explorer. I guess all of these are installed, which is why it's inactive. Yep, these are installed already. Okay. Reddit SQL. What can I look for in the marketplace? Discover cell tags. I have no clue what these extensions are. Extension for quick access to has data lake. Okay, looks like we're running into some pretty cool stuff, at least stuff that I haven't used in the past, so it certainly comes across as much cooler than it might even be. Jupyter extension. Usable interaction. So there's a bunch of plugins. We can slowly discover that. Installation error. Surely they haven't even verified these plugins, so there was a big disclaimer saying you don't know what works, what doesn't work. Okay. Let's get out of that. Open tabs. I wonder if there's like a native client version of JupyterLab. Okay, so I guess it's just the editor when you're switching back and stuff. Okay. I guess that's where we are at. We basically created a table, took a sample data from like a CSV file, inserted it, ran a couple of basic queries, and then we've kind of gotten started. So I would say this is one. I mean, we have to explore. Obviously, we're just literally scratching the surface here, understanding the notion of data warehouses, maybe data lakes, what those might be. Once we've gone past this and gotten some understanding, maybe we can even look at like Databricks, for instance, which is a very popular platform as well. Okay, so I think this may not be a bad place to end this podcast. If you were here, I would ask you if there's anything else you should check out before calling it done with this one. But I think it's about an hour. It's a good point to actually say this is it for today's podcast on Teradata. So again, if you didn't know anything about it, hopefully you got an understanding to some of what we've gone through here. Tune in, subscribe, follow us to continue learning, not just about things happening in the outside world, in the larger world of technology, but also about real exciting things happening at Snowpal. So you know that you could be, building solutions and apps much faster than you might already be doing it today, leveraging our backend SaaS products and APIs. With that, I'm going to end this podcast. Talk to you soon. Thanks.